When you're thinking about learning defense, really perfecting that craft, one of the most exciting elements is thinking, oh, how am I going to fade? How am I going to slip? How am I going to roll shots? That is so much cooler than just simply blocking, but it takes a lot of work and you really need to understand how to do it. Today I'm going to talk about 4 main slips with you, 4 main head movement styles, and how and when to properly utilize them. Let's start this episode out by just letting you guys know that we are in the middle of a glove giveaway. And not just any glove giveaway, this is Leone, an Italian brand, and they are Glory gloves. Brand new, never used. I've had these ones around for a while. They were actually gifted to me by Glory and I was waiting for the right moment to give them to somebody. So there's a link in the description box below. You guys can get entered and I'm gonna send these amazing 12-ounce gloves to one special winner out there. So when we start thinking about slipping and dodging shots, maneuvering our head out of position, it just seems so cool, but it's kind of overwhelming because you might go in front of the mirror and practice like, okay, slipping to the side, rolling under, do all that stuff, and you can't properly utilize it in sparring. And I really want to break down the 4 different methods for you today and help you understand when to utilize them and how you're going to go about training them. So first off, let's start with the roll. The one that a lot of people are familiar with. They think, okay, I drop my weight down to one side. You want to make sure you shift your weight mostly to the front foot. I make almost a circle with my head as I shift the weight to the other side and I get right back to where I started. Right back to where I started is very important. Once you get down this little roll motion, you can see how my shoulders are turning too, because as I roll, this now allows me to load up my arm for the counter shot. The trick on this one though, is very often if you just stand there and go like, okay, as soon as the guy hooks, I'm gonna slip, or I'm gonna roll under, it's just not gonna happen. It's too hard to do. If you want to train this roll, the best way to utilize it is to put it at the end of your combos. And you will be surprised how many times you combo on somebody, they're blocking, they go to throw a counter shot, and you just happen to roll out and under. So if you wanna get good at rolling, don't worry about just standing there and waiting for somebody to throw at you. You don't imagine that. You just go, okay, combo, and I roll out. Combo, and I roll. Always finish with the roll. This is how you properly start to make sure that you can pull this off in sparring. And if you want to add the footwork, I did that on my first example. I throw my punches. I don't just roll under. I throw my punches and I roll under and I step. So now you're way off to the side and you don't have to worry about, okay, I roll the first shot, now I have to deal with a second and a third one. No, you roll and you're completely out of position. Add that simple little step in. You make sure you extend your stance instead of shrink it. You extend your stance and then you shrink it to where it should be and you're back to a normal one. Little roll, I step, whoop, that's how you get out. The next important one is the pull. When you're in this position, somebody goes to fire at your head and you pull your head back, the little fade back. I really like this. We've seen Conor McGregor do it very often, but if you're standing like this and your back is very, very straight and your head is right above your hips, you might find sometimes like, oh, to get here kind of hurts my lower back. And imagine if you do get hit when you're here, you're in this hyperextension mode. If you do get hit, your head is just gonna get whiplash back. So the way to set this up is not to go, okay, I'm gonna just do this when somebody attacks at me. You wanna prompt them a little bit to throw at your head. And you do that by just tipping your weight a little forward. You move your head forward, and then when you pull, you end up in the position where you normally might start. And you're still strong here. And if you do get hit, you have some room to recoil back. So to practice this one, drop the weight a little forward and just do that little pull. It's so much faster when your body weight's a little forward and you can kind of push off your back leg as opposed to a neutral stance where you're kind of, it just feels terrible. So to get that little fade back, that little pull motion, you just tip your weight a little bit forward, you give your head as a target, you pull back, and then most likely you throw your counter shot right after. Assuming that they overcommit and they're still running their head forward, you make them miss, and then you drop your weight into them and you can score that knockdown the way that we've seen Connor do it so many times. The next one, which we obviously have to get down, is the little slips. The slips from side to side. This one here is the one that, unlike the pull where you're gonna try and prompt them and you know it's coming, this might be the one where you go, oh, okay, I'm actually standing in this zone here and they just throw and I just have to actually work that evasion. This is the one that to me is the most reliant on that little twitch muscle, that little, okay, I'm gonna go now, and you just have to react. On this one, very simple, a mistake that a lot of people make, I think, is they try to just move their head and there's no movement through the legs. Let the leg drop. If you want to move to your right, bend your right knee. Right away, you can see my head starts to fall. If I want to go to my left, I just bend my left knee and my head falls. And now I'm not just engaging through the midsection of my body. I'm getting that initial movement just by having my knee move. And then from there, I can fire out to get more power on my counter shot because my leg's bent, as opposed to going slip. Oh, okay, now I have to pull through my oblique. Oh, I'm so slow getting back. On this one, you can just stand your ground, stay nice and neutral. You could be at that range where, yeah, maybe you're throwing some shots and they fire back and you drop, or it could be they lead off. You're just standing there, you're waiting for your moment, they decide to jab at you, drop your weight down to the side, let the punch go by you. If they really commit, a good uppercut counter is fantastic. You drop your weight to the side, you let the shot go by, they get a little too close, and you fire that uppercut, and yes, you are still using your legs because you bent that back leg to get that extra speed in the drop and the extra power on the lift out of the counter. And the final one today that I want to talk to you about is rolling with the shot. And that comes in the moments of you're throwing, and somebody starts to throw back at you, you know you're not going to be able to get your guard up, you know you're not going to be able to roll under the shot, so you just move your head with that punch. And I've had a number of fights where I've been on the attack and I go, oh, he's throwing, and you just get that little tip of the head. You want to make sure that you're still looking towards your opponent, you don't lose sight of them completely, because here I cannot see another shot, but I'm going to end up most likely using my peripherals, because really it looks like I'm directing my gaze this way, but I'm not. I'm just keeping my eye over here. This one is hardest to train, I think, because really somebody's just got to sort of swing at your face and you've got to learn to just move with the shot. It's unpleasant, but when you actually can pull it off, it saves you so much, because locking your head in place is just a terrible way to have your head rattled. So getting that little roll with things really, really helps. We see Canelo do this all the time. Again, if you're wanting to work this, it comes best at the end of you throwing your offense. There wouldn't be too much of a reason for you to be just here and be like, oh, I'm just gonna roll the shot, because in that situation, or roll with the shot, because in that situation, maybe I'll go, okay, I can block. Like I see it coming clearly and I block, or I see it coming clearly and I use some big head movement to get out and under. But if I don't have that time and I'm in the middle of throwing and I go, uh-oh, it's coming, that's when I'll get that little movement happening. On this one, turn the chin just to the side slightly, just like that, and let your upper body move as well. Put the two together and you end up getting a pretty good motion. If you want to pull your weight back slightly as well as you do it, it's going to help you not take impact on the back of the head. That's the part that always worries me about this one, is if you just stand here and you just do this, you get hit in the back of the head. So it's got to be that little pull away as well, so that if somebody was aiming for your jaw, most likely you're not going to take any massive damage. These are the 4 slips that I really think you should prioritize and make sure you utilize them in the way that I was saying today. For the rolls under, I throw my shots and I practice the roll at the end of the combo. For the pull, I make this guy think, okay, the head's right there, I set it up, and then I draw back and give my counter shot. For the slips, this one's a little bit more reactionary. I might be throwing some shots and I see a straight one come and I get out of the way, or they might lead when I'm on the outside and I drop my weight. And rolling with the shot when you're about to get hit, usually after a combo, is a great way to minimize damage. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode on getting that head movement a little bit more on point. We're gonna call it there. As always, guys, thanks for joining me, and I will see you back here soon for another episode.